Have you ever noticed your legs feel heavier when you climb the stairs, even though you're eating what you thought was healthy? Many seniors believe fruit is always safe, but after 60, certain fruits can quietly weaken your legs, inflame your joints, and drain your energy. What most people don't realize is it's often the very fruits we eat every week. Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll reveal the 7 worst offenders and the safer choices that keep your legs steady for years to come. I understand how discouraging it feels when walking across the room or standing from a chair takes more effort than it used to. It's easy to blame age alone, but here's the truth. After 60, your body doesn't process sugar the same way. Even sweet, healthy-looking fruits can trigger inflammation, spike blood sugar, and slowly erode your leg strength. The good news? With a few smart swaps, you can protect your mobility, reduce pain, and stay active with family. In this video, I'll show you the 7 fruits to limit and what to enjoy instead. 1. Overripe bananas and muscle stiffening. Ages. Let's start with one fruit almost every senior has on the counter right now: bananas. Now, bananas themselves aren't the villain. It's the overripe bananas, those soft, spotted ones, that can quietly chip away at your leg strength. Here's why. When bananas ripen, their starch turns into simple sugar. That sugar rush enters your bloodstream quickly, and in older muscles, it binds to collagen. Scientists call these sticky bonds advanced glycation end products, or AGES. Think of it like glue hardening your muscle fibers. What should be elastic and springy turns stiff, like an old rubber band. A 2025 study in nutrition research showed that seniors who ate high glycemic fruits daily had significantly higher age accumulation, directly linked to weaker thigh strength. It wasn't age alone, it was the food chemistry working against them. Take Frank, 72. He loved sweet bananas every morning, thinking he was fueling his health. But he began noticing simple things: climbing the church steps, rising from his garden stool, felt heavier, slower. His doctor suggested switching to just ripe bananas, the firmer kind, and pairing half a banana with a handful of nuts. Within a few weeks, Frank told me he felt lighter on his feet, less stiffness when standing up, and more steady on the stairs. So, what's the takeaway? Bananas can still fit into your life, but choose them when they're yellow, with just a hint of green. Eat only half at a time, and pair it with protein like almonds or yogurt. That simple change slows the sugar spike, protects your muscles, and keeps your legs moving freely. But bananas aren't the only hidden sugar trap, and the next fruit is one most of us reach for in the summertime. 2. Watermelon and inflammation, cytokines. Now, let's talk about a summertime favorite, watermelon. It looks innocent, refreshing, and hydrating. But for seniors over 60, watermelon can quietly stir up inflammation that weakens your legs. Here's what's happening inside your body. Watermelon has one of the highest glycemic indexes of any fruit, often between 72 and 80. That means the natural sugars rush into your bloodstream almost as fast as a soda. When that happens, your body releases insulin to pull the sugar into cells. But the spike also triggers inflammatory messengers like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. These cytokines block muscle protein synthesis, the very process your legs rely on to stay strong. In the Korean Genome and Epidemiology study published in 2023, older adults who regularly consumed high GI fruits had a much higher risk of insulin resistance and muscle weakness. The problem wasn't just calories, it was the repeated spikes that fueled inflammation and wore down muscle repair. Margaret, 68, told me she loved her daily bowl of cold watermelon in the afternoons. But she noticed something strange. After eating it, her knees felt stiffer, and walking the short path to her mailbox became uncomfortable. When she swapped the watermelon for apple slices with a spoonful of almond butter, the difference shocked her. Within 2 weeks, she said her legs felt lighter, and that dull stiffness after walking was almost gone. So, how should you approach it? If you do enjoy watermelon, keep the portion small, no more than half a cup, and always pair it with protein or healthy fat. That slows absorption, keeps your blood sugar steadier, and reduces the inflammation that chips away at your strength. But here's the surprising part. Watermelon isn't the only fruit that hides its damage behind a sweet taste. The next one actually carries acids that can feel like sandpaper on your joints 3. Pineapple and joint acid stress. And that brings us to pineapple. Sweet, juicy, and tropical. Most of us think of it as a healthy anti-inflammatory food because of an enzyme called bromelain. But here's the twist. After 60, pineapple's natural sugars and acids can actually work against your joints instead of for them. Here's the science. Pineapple delivers a hefty load of fructose, which the liver has to process quickly. In younger bodies, that's manageable. But in seniors, excess fructose can push the liver toward insulin resistance, slowing down how muscles repair themselves. Add to that pineapple's strong natural acids. If you already struggle with arthritis or joint inflammation, those acids can irritate tissue like sandpaper on an open wound. It doesn't stop there. Bromelain, while often promoted as beneficial, can interact with common blood-thinning medications. For some seniors, that means bruising more easily or swelling in the legs after what seemed like an innocent snack. The Geelong osteoporosis study in 2021 highlighted that older adults with pro-inflammatory diets had a 33% higher risk of weakness. Pineapple, though tasty, fits right into that risk profile when eaten too often. Take Helen, 66. She enjoyed pineapple chunks every afternoon, convinced it was keeping her inflammation down. But she noticed her ankles felt swollen and heavy afterward. When she replaced the pineapple with slices of pear, she was surprised at how much lighter her steps felt within weeks. Her swelling eased, and she could finish her grocery trips without needing to rest halfway. So, what's the practical takeaway? You don't have to ban pineapple completely. Keep the portion small, just half a cup, and enjoy it only occasionally. And if you're on blood thinners, talk with your doctor before making it a habit. But pineapple isn't the only fruit with a hidden sting. The next one looks harmless, yet its natural sugar acts like sticky residue inside your muscles. 4. Grapes and insulin resistance. And now to a fruit that looks harmless in its tiny, bite-sized form. Grapes. They seem like the perfect snack, easy to wash, easy to pop in your mouth. But for seniors, grapes can quietly work against your muscle strength. Here's why. Grapes are loaded with fructose, a natural sugar that bypasses the usual digestion pathways. It heads straight to your liver. When the liver gets overloaded, especially in older adults, it starts to develop insulin resistance. That means the key that normally unlocks your muscle cells to take in fuel and amino acids becomes dull. The door doesn't open as easily, and muscle repair slows down. Over time, that contributes to weaker thighs, more cramps, and fatigue after simple tasks. The Global Aging Study in 2020 showed that seniors who consumed low GI fruits like berries and apples had stronger leg strength and better balance. Grapes, with their higher sugar impact, were not protective. In fact, frequent snacking on them was linked with faster decline in muscle endurance. George, 74, loved keeping a bowl of grapes by his recliner. He'd snack through them while reading the newspaper. But he began noticing a heavy, dragging feeling in his thighs whenever he worked in the garden. Once he cut back and swapped grapes for slices of pear, he reported something simple yet profound. Less heaviness, steadier balance, and more confidence carrying a watering can down the steps. So, how should you handle grapes? Treat them as a garnish, not a bowlful. 5 or 6 grapes with a meal, especially paired with protein, are far safer than endless handfuls on their own. It's a small shift that can help protect your insulin response and keep your muscles ready to support you. But here's what most people don't realize. The next fruit, though celebrated for its tropical sweetness, can flood your liver like a tidal wave. 5. Mango and liver overload, insulin resistance. And now we come to mango, the golden fruit so many of us love in the summertime. Sweet, fragrant, tropical. But after 60, that sweetness can hit your body like a tidal wave. Here's the biology. Mangoes are packed with fructose. Unlike glucose, which most of your cells can burn for energy, fructose has only one main landing pad, the liver. When the liver is forced to handle too much at once, it becomes overwhelmed. Over time, this overload can create insulin resistance, meaning your body no longer responds well to insulin's signal. For your legs, that translates into slower amino acid delivery, poor muscle recovery, and an uphill battle to maintain strength. A 2023 study published in the Aging Journal showed seniors with insulin resistance had nearly double the rate of thigh muscle decline compared to those with healthy insulin sensitivity. In other words, the liver struggle directly showed up as weaker legs. Rosa, 70, experienced this firsthand. Every morning, she blended a mango smoothie, believing it was fueling her health. But she kept waking up with leg cramps and felt drained after short walks. When she swapped the mango for mixed berries and yogurt, she told me something beautiful. Not only did the cramps ease within 3 weeks, but she also had more energy to walk with her grandchildren after dinner. So, what's the practical takeaway? Mango doesn't have to disappear entirely, but treat it as a rare treat. A quarter of a mango paired with protein or yogurt is far safer than a whole fruit blended on its own. That combination slows the sugar flood and protects your liver from overload. But here's the surprising twist. Mango isn't the only fruit that overworks your liver. The next one, common in Asian kitchens, slices its sweetness into your bloodstream like tiny sugar daggers. 6. Korean melon and glucose spikes, rage pathway. Next on the list is a fruit you'll often see in Asian markets, the Korean melon. It looks small, harmless, and refreshing. But don't let its size fool you. Inside, it hides a sugar pattern that can quietly chip away at your leg strength. Here's the biology. Korean melon has a glycemic index around 62. That means its natural sugars hit the bloodstream fast, especially when eaten on an empty stomach. For seniors, repeated spikes like this don't just make you feel tired afterward. They contribute to the buildup of compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGES. These molecules stick to collagen in your muscles, making them stiffer and less resilient. Think of it like tiny sugar daggers pricking the fabric of your muscle fibers again and again. A 2005 study in the Malaysian Journal of Nutrition found that tropical fruits with higher GI values triggered the strongest glucose responses in older adults. Over time, those repeated responses add up, weakening thigh muscles, worsening balance, and raising the risk of falls. David, 69, told me he enjoyed a few slices of Korean melon after dinner every night. But he started noticing that his walks felt shorter, and standing from his favorite chair took more effort. When he swapped melon for a crisp pear, lower in GI, he noticed something subtle but powerful. Steadier energy, less heaviness in his thighs, and more confidence walking across the park. So, what's the practical takeaway? If you do eat Korean melon, keep it to small slices, and never eat it first thing in the morning when your blood sugar is most vulnerable. Pair it with protein, like a handful of nuts, to soften the spike. But miss this step, and even a few slices could undo the progress you've made. And the next fruit? It's one of the most common summer snacks. Yet it acts like a slow-dripping sugar tap on your muscles. 7. Sweet melons, cantaloupe, honeydew, and chronic sugar load. And finally, let's look at sweet melons, like cantaloupe and honeydew. These are classic summer favorites, light and refreshing. But for seniors, eating them too often can quietly place a heavy burden on your muscles. Here's why. Sweet melons have a moderate to high glycemic index. That means when you eat a big bowl, your blood sugar climbs quickly. Your body responds by pumping out insulin. Over time, repeated spikes raise inflammatory messengers, especially IL-6, which disrupt the way your muscles use protein to repair themselves. Think of it like a slow-dripping sugar tap, filling your muscles with stickiness day after day. A 2025 study in nutrition research found that ripening stages strongly affect fruit's glycemic load. The riper the melon, the faster its sugars hit the bloodstream. Seniors who ate these fruits frequently showed greater fluctuations in blood sugar and more fatigue during mobility tests. Barbara, 71, discovered this the hard way. She loved her nightly cantaloupe bowl while watching TV. But she noticed her legs felt heavier when climbing the stairs, and she often had to pause halfway. At her daughter's suggestion, she cut her portion in half and started pairing melon slices with a slice of cheese. Within a few weeks, Barbara said she felt more stable, with fewer pauses on the stairs and more confidence moving around her home. So, what's the practical advice? If you enjoy sweet melons, keep portions small, no more than half a cup, and pair them with protein or fat to blunt the sugar impact. And avoid eating them overly ripe when the flesh is soft and extra sweet. But here's the real twist. While some fruits strain your muscles, others can protect them. And in just a moment, I'll reveal why the idea that all fruit is good is one of the most misleading myths in senior nutrition. So, as you've seen, not all fruit is created equal, especially after 60. Your legs are not just muscles, they're the foundation of your independence. Every choice you make at the fruit bowl either protects that freedom or slowly chips away at it. I know it can feel discouraging to realize that something as innocent as a slice of melon or a handful of grapes may be holding you back. But the good news is this. With a few smart swaps, like choosing firmer bananas, smaller melon portions, or berries instead of tropical fruits, you can protect your legs, ease inflammation, and keep doing the things you love, whether that's tending the garden or walking with your grandchildren. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which fruit on this list surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comment. I read everyone, and your story may help another senior who's struggling too. And if today's video gave you clarity or encouragement, consider subscribing. Each week I share science-backed ways to stay strong, age well, and live more actively after 60. Remember, you're not just protecting your health for yourself, you're protecting it for your family, for your independence, and for the joy of all the moments still ahead. Stay strong, stay steady, and I'll see you in the next video.